Can we go ahead, Jitsab?
Yes, it's exactly right on dot.
Excellent, excellent. Good evening, namaskar, salam alaikum, and good morning to you, friends from the western part of the world. I'm Ashok Garlapati on behalf of J&A Bharat HSE Foundation. I would like to welcome you for the 8th Outreach and Knowledge Transfer Session. We call it as an OKT Session. And today's topic is opportunities for HSE professionals to support developing economies and societal well-being. So we have a great speaker today. We are going to have a good introduction about him. Before that, I just would like you to understand this meeting protocol. Kindly mute your microphone and kindly raise the hand whenever you want to speak. Preferably switch off your camera and you can always switch on when you are speaking. And as we proceed, you can post your queries as well as the comments and suggestions in the chat box. And this meeting is being recorded for the future reference of our friends. And please register your name, company, designation, WhatsApp phone number, email ID, so that we can have a future communication as well. And please stay for the ceremony group photo at the end of our meeting. And you can also share our meeting link as we proceed. And also you can join our WhatsApp group link for J&A Foundations, which is already posted in the chat box. You can just search and click the link. You'll be taken to the WhatsApp of J&A. So with that, I just would like to briefly talk about today's program. Today we are going to have it for almost 90 minutes or so. We'll have the part 1 and part 2. In the part 1, we are going to talk about the introductions as well as the J&A Bharat HSE Foundation and what exactly we mean about the foundation. Very important thing we are going to have today as part of the part 1 is launch of the J&A Global HSE Foundation. Our guest of honor, our great friend and philosopher, Mr. Rixio Medina from Florida, USA. In the part 2, we are going to have the knowledge transfer session on opportunities for HSE professionals to support developing economies and social well-being. In 30 to 40 minutes or so, Mr. Rixio is going to really share his whole experience of HSE profession, talking about how HSE professionals can contribute developing economies. So that's going to be our program today. With that, I would like to request our Mr. Jitu Patel, our fellow trustee of the J&A Bharat HSE Foundation. Basically, he is an international HSE consultant with 55 years of experience, and in which 21 years he spent with Saudi Aramco, which is the largest oil and gas company, corporation in the world. He was a research scientist for 15 years at a major heavy chemical manufacturing company in UK. His work has taken him throughout the world, serving on such boards as well as committees internationally. He is also a co-founder of many international chapters around the world, which we are going to brief you. Amongst other, he is a founding trustee of J&A Bharat HSE Foundation as well as the Global HSE Foundation. And he is the first Indian who was honored in 2011 by ASSP with the highest honor of the ASSP Fellow. And with that, I would like to welcome Mr. Jitu Patel, fellow trustee of the foundation, to give his welcome address. Mr. Jitu?
Thank you, Ashok ji. This wonderful introduction, publicly announcing how old I am. Very kind of you. So to begin with, greetings to all. Namaskar to many Indian friends, respected honored guest. We start with Mr. Rixio Medina, our chief guest, who is also our keynote speaker, as you just heard Ashok ji mentioned. Mr. Jeff Prabal, the tax accountant who helped us establishing this 501c3 organization to do the charity work. Dr. Meenakshi Pandit, former Harvard and Medical School faculty, Professor Dhiman Desai, Hershey Cancer Research Institute, and many more, especially Bill Sims Jr., the president of Bill Sims Company, and our associates in Trinidad, and Silva Ganapati, the president of Safety Engineering Association, as well as the Friends from Tahoe organization. On behalf of J&A Bharat HSE Foundation Governance and its two founding trustees, a very warm welcome to you all. Ashok ji, I request you to present an overview of J&A Bharat HSE Foundation, please.
One moment, sorry to interrupt. Can I request the participants to mute their respective mics? Only the speaker can keep his mic on, please. We're having a lot of disturbance. Appreciate if you could please help us. Sanjay Kumar ji, please mute your mic.
Thank you, Ram Prasad ji. That was very helpful.
Yes, I can mute everybody, but I just wanted to have the self-discipline. So kindly do the mute, please. Yes, thank you, Jita Saab. We just would like to give a brief overview of our Bharat HSE Foundation. Basically, as I was telling that Mr. Jitu and myself have been working together from almost 2 decades or so. And we do have an overall 9 decades of together experience. As you see on the world map, there are little, the blue flags are there. We just want to highlight that these are the places where we had an influence through international organizations like ASSP or BCSP or you name it. So we had a very good influence around the world with respect to HSE. And we wanted to give it back to India, how we can support to India with respect to the HSE, improving the HSE performance or supporting the HSE fraternity. As you see on the screen, this is the global deaths related to the industrial accidents. Unfortunately, India is on the top of the list. So we would like to improve the workplace conditions in India by supporting the HSE fraternity, HSE professionals, in terms of the knowledge transfer, in terms of the financial support, and so on. So that's what we wanted to highlight here. And of course, in India, we have several rules and regulations and which are supporting the, improving the HSE performance. One of the key component of this particular regulations are it recognizes safe and healthy work environment as a fundamental human right. Like in OSHA, we have the general duty clause, something like that. And as per this national policy, the government of India engages and encourages with several national and international organizations in the field of coordination, education awareness, technical standards and codes of practices, and educational awareness raising. So these are all the areas where we wanted to support Indian professionals. So that's why we just started our Bharat HSE Foundation in the month of March 2022. And this particular slide really talks about the UL Safety Index, United Laboratory Safety Index, and it is ranked in the different countries on 0 to 100. And 63 is the Indian score. Of course, this report belongs to the 2007, but there is a lot of improvement needs to be there to improve the score. And there only we wanted to support Indian organizations, Indian community, fraternity. And there is a international, there is a national code, which is Occupational Safety, Health and Work Conditions Code in 2019. It has been, amalgamated. And as per this code, there are advisory bodies also being called by the central government as well as state government in India. And we just wanted to support in that aspect also. There are so many organizations in India like ASSP, National Safety Council, IOSH, but we wanted to be something different than those professional organizations, not only providing the mentoring support, but financial support through this foundation. So that's our main idea, in fact. So with that, we just wanted to develop our vision, mission, as well as the objectives. And we launched—
There is a bag. Manju brought one bag, no?
And we just launched our foundation on March 25th. This is the screen you can see there. On March 25th, Mr. Venki and other dignitaries have started this foundation. We basically focusing on the 4 areas of collaboration. I just want to highlight here that this is not a membership organization like other professional bodies. It is completely, purely charity oriented to support the HSE profession in specific. And we'll be collaborating with the professional organizations. We just had a MOU with the Safety Engineers Association with the support of Mr. Ram Prasad, who is our chair for the partnership and collaborations. We also collaborate with the corporate organizations. We also collaborate with academic institutions, like our Professor Ramana is a chair for the student mentoring. He is helping us to coordinate with academic institutions in India. And we also collaborate with the individuals and philanthropists and as well as NGOs. So that's about our 4-pillar concept. We do have a mission, vision, and objectives. It is simple as that we want to support the HSE fraternity in India. That's one of our important mission, as well as, we do have several objectives. One of the objectives is in advancing the occupational safety and health profession, to support and promote the occupational safety and health as a career choice among the students, to inspire and develop leaders in the safety and health environment, to provide education and developmental opportunities. So something like that, we developed the detailed objectives and we are working on that. And we also recognize the individuals, and we collaborate with the institutions, affiliation with the institutions to support HSE courses, training and auditing and consultation process. And we also collaborate with any organizations having the similar objectives. That's one of the very important thing by signing the memorandum of understanding. We do have our website for J&A Bharat HSE Foundation.org. Currently, we do have 3 programs. One program is supporting the foundation professional development grant. Another program is supporting the industrial accident victim family support grant. And recently on August, we launched the J&A Keval Shanti scholarship program, mainly for the girl students, on 27th August 2022. And we do have all these details in our website, J&A Bharat HSE Foundation.org. You can just log into the website and you can always get the more information about these programs. And we do have a contribution form on the website.
What
if
does that
anybody
mean?
wants to support our foundation, you can
Ashok,
always
Ashok,
contribute
1
it.
minute. Can we request Ayesha to mute her mic? And Sanjay Kumar, Syed to mute their mics, please. There's a lot of disturbance. Sorry to interrupt, but I think these gentlemen have to help us.
Yes, exactly. Thank you, Ram Prasad.
My mic is mute only.
Yes, you
No,
cannot
madam,
speak.
we hear you. We hear you.
Thank you, Ram Prasad ji. I'm muting again, they are unmuting. That's another issue actually. Anyway, so that's what I was telling, that we do have a contribution form on our website. So you can always reach out to us through this contribution form. We also have the expression of interest to support J&A Foundation. It is not only the financial support. You can share your knowledge. You can be a volunteer as well. And so we have so many volunteers supporting our foundation already. And we do have a governance structure in place with the founding trustees, governance body, and different chairs. We have it. So this is our governance body structure, governance structure. And this is our governance body, which we have the founding trustees and governance board members, as well as the functional committee chairs, as you see on the screen. And with that, I would like to continue with our next agenda point, launch of the J&A Global HSE Foundation, out by guest of honor, Mr. Rixio Medina. But before that, you may be surprised that you already have the J&A Bharat HSE Foundation. Now you're going for the Global HSE Foundation. To basically talk about this particular need of this Global HSE Foundation, I would like to invite Mr. Jitu Patel, our founding trustee, to briefly talk about this Global HSE Foundation and the need for launching today. Mr. Jitu.
Ashokji, thank you very much. I apologize to everyone on this webinar that I wanted to introduce you properly, but because of the external noise, I skipped it. But for everybody's benefit, now everything is lovely in the garden. Everyone knows Ashokji so well globally for his remarkable contributions to HSE profession and for developing countless number of HSE professionals. He has made significant impact worldwide in saving lives and assets. He is a director of Board of Certified Safety Professional known as BCSP, and I'm extremely happy and proud to announce that he has been recently elected as Vice President of BCSP, effective from January 1st, and will be presiding the BCSP in 2024. He is holding various respectable positions with Global HSE Professional Organization. In 2020, he was honored with the same highest fellow honor offered by HSSP. Ashokji, thank you for the brief highlighting about the foundation's objective. I stress a point that the J&A Bharat HSE Foundation, registered in February 22, is a charitable organization and is established to enhance the value of HSE profession and to help fulfill the dreams of deserving individuals to becoming fine HSE professionals and leaders, who in turn would make a safe nation wherever the individual is in, and extend humanity to protect people and environment globally. Ladies and gentlemen, we have expanded the mission and vision to work also from USA under the name of J&A Global HSE Foundation. US government Federal Internal Revenue Service has granted the approval of the tax exempt status of Section 501c3, which is tax deductibles to all donors as a charitable foundation. We also have completed establishing the websites now for both the foundations. On behalf of the members of the J&A Global HSE Foundation governing body, also including the two founding trustees, Ashok and myself, we now request our chief guest, Mr. Rixio Medina, to do us an honor of launching the J&A Global HSE Foundation and its website officially, please. Ashok, you may have to assist us and Mr. Medina in conducting the ceremony, please.
Certainly, Jitsu Saab, and thank you so much for briefly talking about the Global HSE Foundation, and we already got our 501c approvals. With that, I would like to request Mr. Rixio Medina, our guest of honor today. Mr. Rixio, when you say yes, I will click the button, please. Mr. Rixio?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. We are going to listen from you shortly, but with your yes, I would like to, because it's going to be the virtual. If it is a physical in India, we have the lamp serving, lamp lighting ceremony and so many things. But let's have a virtual ceremony now. Thank you, Mr. Rixio. Yes.
Thank you.
And we do have our website also prepared. We are going to launch the website. So this is our website, jaglobalhsefoundation.org.
Safety and others, please use the caution when entering the
jaglobalhsefoundation.org. And you will find all the information about the HSE Foundation here. And in fact, objectives, mission, vision, everything is same as the Bharat HSE Foundation, but this will be on the global scale, so on the global arena. So that's the difference. We have expanded our reach. So with that, we would like to proceed to the part 2 of our program today, the knowledge transfer session. As we were telling that every month we have the every month we have the outreach sessions. We call it as outreach and knowledge transfer sessions. Today is the 8th knowledge transfer session we are conducting today. And with that, I would like to invite our chair for the awards and honors to introduce Mr. Rixio today. And these are our earlier outreach programs which we have conducted, as you see on the screen. But today we are going to have the a knowledge transfer session. Basically, on the we are talking about the opportunities for HSE professionals to support developing economies and societal well-being. That's our knowledge transfer session. To introduce Mr. Rixio, our guest of honor today, I would like to call Mr. Adavi Bala Srikant. He is our chair for awards and honors, and he is with the J&A Bharat HSE Foundation as well as the Global HSE Foundation. He works as a senior specialist in Kuwait Oil Company with 23 years of abundant experience. With that, I would like to request Mr. Bala to briefly introduce Mr. Rixio along with the topic of today. Mr. Bala.
Thank you, Ashokji, and very glad to introduce our good friend Rixio. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, and namaste. And thank you very much for giving this brief opportunity to introduce our great professional Rixio. Mr. Rixio Enrique Medina, a fellow of FASSP, a CPP, the HSSE executive, subject matter expert and advisor to oil and gas and petrochemical industries. Mr. Rixio is a globally renowned who has steered the world's two major health and safety professional organizations as president, namely American Society of Safety Professionals, we call ASSP, and the Board of Certified Safety Professionals, BCSP. He was also former presidential appointee, U.S. Chemical Safety and Hazard Investigation Board, a member of OSHA National Advisory Committee of Occupational Safety and Health, and the member of Health and Safety Committees of American Petroleum Institute and American Fuel and Petrochemical Manufacturers. Mr. Rixio will speak on opportunities for HSE professionals to support developing economies and social well-being. He will share his vast US and global industry experience and would offer solutions. HSE and other industry professionals and the policy and decision-making management would greatly benefit from this webinar. Mr. Rixio is, in fact, he visited India and Bahrain as a part of ASSP India and the Middle East chapter professional development conferences. So he is well aware of the international challenges. And I'm very, very fortunate to welcome when he was in Kuwait as well. And even I had a great opportunity to meet such a wonderful gentleman in America when I visited and when I attended a professional development conference in safety at number of years. So please join me in welcoming Mr. Rixio for his thoughts on his today's topic. Over to Mr. Rixio.
Thank you, Bala. And Mr. Rixio would like to share your screen, and I will unscreen so that you can share your screen, Mr. Rixio.
Can you see it now?
Yes, we can see it. Yeah.
Well, good morning, good evening. Namaste. Thank you very much. I would like to start by thanking my dear friend and colleagues, Ashok and Jitu, for taking time a few weeks back to talk to me about the initiative that they have taken along with a number of other distinguished safety professionals in creating the HSE Foundation, Bharat, J&A Bharat Health and Safety Foundation, and now with the initiative of creating a similar organization from a global perspective. And they reminded me in our conversation, and I would like to share with all of you that a few years back in an ASSP conference where we had a conversation about our own involvement in ASSP as an international organization, but the duty, the responsibility that we individually had as safety professionals from the international community to actually engage and participate in initiatives to advance occupational safety and health and environment protection in our individual countries. That we were very much engaged internationally because we had that opportunity, but we had an obligation, as I mentioned previously, to do the best we could to assist our own nations in achieving a better performance, reducing injuries, illnesses, fatalities, and accidents that not only impacted the individuals, the companies, but also as the nation overall. I'm very pleased that a few years passed, and all of a sudden I see this initiative carry on by this very distinguished gentleman that demonstrate again their commitment and their interest in expanding their level of influence to apply all those experience, knowledge, and skills that they have accumulated over the years of practice in their own individual countries and more in a global perspective. So thank you to both of them for what they have done in such a short period of time this year with these foundations. And I feel an obligation also to say that I've had the opportunity to participate in a couple of foundations, HSE related foundations, international and in the US. And it has taken a number of years, 10, 15, 20 years, to these foundations to fully develop all the tools, all the mechanism to maximize their impact in achieving their goals. And I'm shocked to learn that in just few months, both these organizations, the previously launched J&A Bharat HSE Foundation and the one that's being launched, was launched today, the Global HSE Foundation, have all those tools, all those mechanisms, all those channels for interested parties to engage. They are available today. It took a few months. Very typical product of my good friends, Ashok and Jitu, and many others in Asia who are very passionate about the advancement of safety. So congratulations for that. And this gave me the opportunity to have a conversation with you. You are used to participate in a number of highly technical presentations on HSE aspects to perhaps refine what you already know, or in some cases, remind you things that you have learned in the past, and perhaps because of lack of use, have not applied some of those concepts. But today, the conversation of this outreach and knowledge transfer session is not so much technical in nature. It's about using our technical knowledge, our skills, our experience to expand our circle of influence and to help our communities, our states, our countries, and the citizens, our brothers and sisters of our nations, in living in better conditions, free from accidents, fatalities, injuries, and illnesses, and that not only impact those affected, their direct families, their communities, but the nation as a whole. And so this is going to be the topic of the conversation, and I'm going to be taking the liberty to share with you some of my personal experience in my journey as an HSE professional, international, because my background is from South America, from Venezuela, but I've had the opportunity to work in so many countries, and there's where I see this opportunity, regardless of how developed the country is, regardless of their GDP or other economic or social indicators. I see everywhere an opportunity for us as professionals in the field of occupational safety and health and environmental protection as HSE professionals to support our countries in other ways, in expand our ability to make things better in fields that are not necessarily the ones that we are being paid for as an employee or as a consultant or someone providing a service. So that's going to be the topic of this conversation. So I'm going to start with an analogy here. And now that we are playing the World Cup, I wish I had an example of football, soccer, as they call it here in the States, but I don't. So I have to go to the next area of my of knowledge that I have and see if I can advance here. Okay. And so I'm going to talk about this case of an individual who I have the opportunity to share with many, many, many young professionals and students across the US when I talk about opportunities to be more effective in our mission of preventing injuries and illnesses and fatalities. This gentleman here on screen, Mr. James Robert Crane, also better known as Jim Crane, lives in my community here in Katy, Texas, where I live, very close to my house. Mr. Crane, or Jim Crane, is the chairman and CEO of a group of companies, very large companies, that also have his last name, Crane Capital Group, Crane Worldwide Logistics, and Crane Freight and Shipping. He's a very successful businessman and billionaire who, in addition to these companies that are the trademark of his name, has created a number of other companies in the technology area, in IT, even in the safety arena, created a safety supply company. And he has gone into other ventures such as wineries and other companies. So he has a number of organization enterprises that he has created as part of his portfolio of business and ability to create organizations and be very successful. But one of the things he's more successful and better known for is all what he does outside his business of being a billionaire and a successful businessman. He has created a number of organizations, or is very active in some of them. The primary is his own foundation, his family foundation, through which he channeled a lot of resources to help people in need, organizations in need. He's also very active with the university where he graduated, University of Central Missouri, and created an organization here in the Houston area. It's called the Community Leaders Program, where they identify individuals in all sorts of activities, not only professional, but social and in community, people that have the potential to help others, to be multipliers. And this organization, this program, is aimed to further develop these individuals and provide them tools to be more effective in the work that they're doing. Mr. Crane has been extremely generous in resources to help the winter storm and hurricane relief funds, especially in the Houston Gulf area and throughout the South, helping families and people that have been impacted with weather, natural conditions. And for a very long time, he has helped with the New Hope housing, helping individuals in this great nation, USA, individuals that are homeless, families that don't have a place where to stay, and he has developed a lot of strategies or a strategy with a lot of tactics and specific actions to promote the development of these families through proper housing, proper job training and job, in ways that they can support themselves. So Mr. Jane Crane, in addition to be a billionaire and a very famous person in this region of the USA for his business, it's also known for what he does with his knowledge and his resources to help others. Now, a little bit about him, his background, where he started. I mentioned that he went to the University of Central Missouri. At that time, it was called Central Missouri State University. He went in the mid-70s, and I was there later on. I was there in 81, 82, where I got my master's of science degree. But when Mr. Crane was at Missouri, he was involved in baseball. He was an athlete going to school. They were helping him with his schooling because his family didn't have the resources to pay or what it takes to go to a college. Didn't have at that time. So he played baseball. He was a pitcher for the university, and a very good one. He had some records still in place. Now, interesting or sad to know that between his first and second years of school, his dad passed away. So with the death of his father, he went to a crisis because although he was kind of supported by the university, he needed more funds to go to school. So he actually went back home. He left school and he was thinking of dropping completely out of school. Fortunately, there was a leader at the university, a athletic coach who became a mentor for Mr. Crane and convinced him that his future was in education, completing his education, so he had a basis to grow in his future life, and convinced him to come back to school. And he did come back to school and he graduated. Now, I mentioned in the prior slide that he contributes a lot to the university in a lot of aspects, scholarships and athletic activities. He contributed significant to the rebuild of the baseball stadium. And he asked only one thing in return. He asked that the stadium be renamed or named after that coach, that mentor that got him back to school, in recognition what he has done for him and for so many others as a mentor, as a coach. So Mr. Crane, after graduation, like many of us, believe it or not, he graduated with a Bachelor's of Science in Industrial Safety. So here we have an individual from low middle class who went to school with a scholarship and support of his family, graduated with a Bachelor's of Science degree in Industrial Safety in 1976. That's the only college degree that he has today, a Bachelor of Science degree in Industrial Safety. And he started his professional career, like many of us, in loss control, and dedicated himself primarily for 3 or 4 years evaluating commercial risks as part of an insurance company that hired him. So now you have it here, a safety guy, just like many of us, with humble beginnings, who through the years, applying his knowledge, his skill set, his experience, more importantly, his passion to help others, have become a successful businessman and billionaire. Now, going back to baseball, continue baseball. Mr. Crane bought in 2011 the Houston Astros, a Major League Baseball team in my area here. And it's reported that he paid $680 million to buy the team. Now, this was an opportunity for him again to use his skill set. At that time, that team was considered one of the worst professional baseball teams in the North America League, including US and Canada. Astros were terrible in their performance. And Mr. Crane designed and implemented a 6-year strategy to achieve sustained success. Things that we learn in our education, either in school when we pursue a degree in safety, or at work when we work as HSE professionals to analyze situation, do a risk assessment, identify what are the key aspects, key risks or hazards, probability and consequences, and a ranking of risks, using mitigation, identifying mitigations and strategies that can help eliminate or substitute or control those hazards and risks to have the desired performance. So he used the skill set to have an impact in this organization. So under his leadership, after he bought the team, 5-6 years after, the results start coming in. And you see here on the screen, maybe if you don't know, I know that most of you know a lot about cricket and about soccer or football, but these are very important things in baseball. The championships that under his leadership, a safety professional, a guy that has a degree in safety, this organization has been able to achieve. And most recently, world champions for the whole Major League Baseball in 2017, and recently, last month, in 2022. So using this example to illustrate and underline the skill sets, the application of what we have in our toolkit, help achieve success in so many aspects. And in addition to that, be very effective in impacting our community through involvement in philanthropic activities for the advancement of the community overall and the individuals. So hopefully this message, which I've shared with hundreds of safety professionals in the US that did not know about it, will help you understand and what potential we all have as individuals and collectively to have an impact. Now going more directly to the aspect we wanted to talk about in our field of HSE. According to the International Labor Organization database, in 2002, there were approximately 3.4, 3.39 billion people employed in the whole world. Some of them, or a large percentage of them, are self-employed or subcontracted in a relationship that there's very little opportunity for someone to assist them in being able to perform their job in a way that they don't impact themselves, others, or the environment. And so there's a lot of people out there exposed, not only in countries in the development mode, or as they used to call it in the past, underdeveloped, but I like to say more in ways to be undeveloped, but also in developed countries like the USA and industrialized countries all over the world. So there's a lot of exposure, a lot of opportunities for intervention to assist these individuals. Now, there is a big challenge globally, just on the safety and health perspective. So, according to a number of organizations that are collaborating in estimating these numbers, which are the ILO, the Ministry of Health and Social Affairs from Finland, the Workplace Safety and Health Institute of Singapore, and the World Health Organization, because there's not a perfect mechanism to estimate these numbers due to underreporting and due to other factors that are not helpful in having a precise number. So this is the best estimate, and it's about 3 or 4 years old, because the number, it takes several years to get a view of where the world stands in regards to the damage caused by on-the-job accidents. So the latest number is the one you see there. Every year, 2.7, 2.8 million work-related fatalities. Most of them, 86.3%, 2.4 million, are caused by illnesses, and therefore more difficult to capture, to intervene, because some of them are, most of them not acute. They're exposure that take a long time to develop and to manifest, and so that's part of the problem of reporting. And they estimate that about 13.7%, 380,500 of those fatalities are caused by injuries. So this is the picture we're talking about, just on the occupational field. Now, I should mention or show a graph earlier about countries with more accidents. And according to this data here, Asia has approximately 66% of the fatalities, with China and India having the highest total fatalities. And an explanation for this is, well, largest population, countries with largest population in the world. But still, there's a lot of opportunity in Asia as far as eliminating, controlling, mitigating occupational safety and health fatalities. Africa and Europe have about 12% each of these fatalities. And so the rest is among the other countries of the world. This organization estimates that the potential for damage is a lot larger, because they estimate 374 million non-fatal occupational accidents. And they define this as accidents that create perhaps injuries and illnesses, and that people lose several days of work, more in the last work day type of definition, because it's difficult for them to capture non-fatal accidents that happen for 1 day loss, but they are more accurate in the 3 to 5 days window. So there's 374 million non-fatal occupational accidents annually, that for whatever medical intervention or some sort of intervention, they do not join the upper number of fatalities. So this shows how much we still have to intervene, the potential we have for intervening. You may not, as many professionals, believe in zero accidents and zero injuries type of condition. Some people say, well, you can't avoid it. But even if you don't agree with that, we all can agree that this is an unacceptable condition that we cannot tolerate, and we need to do something to help the different countries achieve a better level of performance, and more importantly, help these individuals achieve the basic human right they have for workplaces free of known hazards and free of conditions that can harm them or can harm the environment. And in addition to that, a significant monetary impact, which is the next item here. The annual losses estimated represent almost 4% of the world GDP, according to using the United Nations 2020 number. That's equivalent to 3.4 trillion US dollars per year. That's the known financial loss that all these cases are creating. Just to give you an idea, I think the 2021 GDP for India as a nation was 3.13. So imagine that's the size of the monetary loss globally that these accidents are causing. Unacceptable. This money can be used to better reward the workers, to better take care of the communities, the cities, the organization, and improve the quality of life in all these countries. Now, we have talked about occupational, and I now feel that we need to consider all the non-occupational transportation-related accidents and natural disasters that cause additional death, injuries, and financial loss. Every time that something like this happens, it's in the media. Hurricanes, tornadoes, flooding, and terrible transportation accidents across the world. This doesn't spare size or how powerful the nation is. Those natural disasters are there. And HSE professionals have unique special skills that can help in the preparation for response, for emergency response, and for caring and helping rebuilding communities that have been impacted by these natural disasters. So let's talk about our role. And I chose to use as a reference here the INSPO, the International Network of Safety and Health Professional Organizations, OHS position description builder, where they kind of outline what are our roles. I could have used the ASSP, the BCSP, the Canadian information, the IOSH, any part of the world. They all are relatively similar, but it outlines our role in identifying risks, ranking those risks, and consider all the controls, the hierarchy of controls, and see which are more effective to eliminate, substitute, reduce, or control those risks. By analyzing the training needs for workers throughout the organization, by designing, delivering, and evaluating how effective is that training, and more importantly, using evidence-based facts to develop, implement, and monitor the application of this occupational health and safety strategies and programs, including how effective those critical controls are. So this is the role that we have. And as you can see, all of these roles, although they are described work environment, they're applicable throughout our community and our nation, regardless of the environment. It can be in cities, can be in transportation systems, can be in the school system, in any area where there's potential for harming people. So we concentrate a lot in assisting employer because of the nature of our role. Employers and clients, for those that are consultants in accident prevention and mitigation effort, and we're very good at it. Although the numbers are high still of people being hurt, it would have been a lot higher if individuals like ourselves and so many others in the field, day in, day out, assisting employers in co-workers in preventing injuries and illnesses and fatalities, property damage, and damage to the environment. By the way, a parenthesis here, for years I have tried unsuccessfully to get a grasp on the number of people in the field of safety. Well, there's not a number by any of these international organizations I mentioned, ILO, World Health Organization, or others. Not even in the States. You know, there's some estimates of how many technicians and safety professionals there are, and you can have a number, how many members, number of members on ASSP, and number of people that hold certification from BCSP and AIHA, the same thing in Canada, same thing in the United Kingdom or part of the world by IOSH or NIVASH, but there's not a number. We don't have a number of how many people we have in this field. But I can tell you something, my suspect is that there are a lot more that are not even members of any recognized organization. And I say that based on the US figures. There's a lot more people estimated by the Department of Labor occupying occupational safety and health or EHS positions than people that are members of all the organizations together. We have numbers of the ASSP, National Safety Council, individuals, and people that hold certifications. And you add all those numbers, and those numbers, total number, is lower than the number estimated by in the US by the government. So just extrapolating that, I can tell that there's a lot more people out there. Hopefully, some of them with skill sets, most of them with skill sets that are effective in their job. But that leads me to believe that there are people there that are in those positions because they were designated, because it's an opportunity to work and maybe learning, but do not have the full ability, knowledge, and experience to have an impact. But what I do know is that many of EHS professionals that do have skill sets, that do have certification, that are people that are academically notorious and have made contributions, say that they're too busy at work or in other activities to participate in professional and public service or academic or community related activity. So there's a lot of us out there in the world that, although doing a good job concentrating on performing our duties and our roles for our employers and helping our co-workers, do not apply a little portion of our time, of our skill sets to assist other parts of society in attacking this big problem of occupational and non-occupational injuries, illnesses, fatalities, property damage, environmental impact. And that we do collectively a lot better in helping others in performing our job, going home, work, back home every day after work without being impacted by situations and risks. And this is the heart of our discussion today. We can never be too busy at work or perhaps in family activities. And I understand that we all have times in our family where we have small children and we have a father obligation, but there's always some time that we can designate and apply to help others. So there's many opportunities, I say, to help others, but there's a lot of benefits that we can gain by doing that. If we want to think, if we want to respond to the question, what is it for me? That a lot of people ask sometimes. Yeah, if I do this, what I get in return? And one of the benefits of applying the knowledge that we have, our skills and our experience, to make significant contributions in accident prevention and reducing our own country's fatalities, injuries, and illness. So this is a benefit that we gain, being actors, active actors that can help achieve this level. And by doing that, we learn other aspects of life, of exposure to people that can help our professional development. And this is why a lot of very responsible employers and organizations encourage their employees to participate in this type of activities outside the work environment, being multipliers, because you learn of other situations, you learn of conditions, you learn how to deal or how to interact with agencies and other people that can benefit the employer. Like you bring, it's not like you're in a vacuum there and you learn something and apply here. That knowledge you can transport and bring it back to work and help your employer, or perhaps if you're a consultant, help other clients with ideas, with ways to control effectively this happens. There's a lot of benefits for the individual. Another benefit is networking, and you develop contacts and develop friendships, lifetime friendships that will eventually allow you not only to help others when they're in need for your assistance, but to gain information and assistance from your friends and colleagues when you're in need to attack an issue of which you have no idea. And so I have personally learned, and a big part of my professional development and my ability to be multiplier has been through these benefits that I have gained. And this is not something that I got from a book. This is a lifetime experience of 44 years in the field of occupational safety and health, being a simple volunteer in organizations of all natures in my field, where I can extrapolate and bring some of the experiences, skills, and knowledge to assist others and to learn and develop this network capability. Has helped me in career advancement in so many ways that we don't have time to discuss here today. But let me give you only one example. Many years ago, 2003, well, actually happened first in 2001 and then in 2003. I got a call in my office at work, and someone said it was from the White House. They wanted to talk to me, and I thought it was someone pulling my leg or making a joke, a friend, and they left a message. Actually, because I don't know, the thing was they left a message. I did not respond. I did not get the phone call, but I got the message. I investigated the number, and it was in fact a White House number, and I called back. And they wanted to talk to me of the Office of Presidential Personnel about the opportunity to be appointed by the President of the United States that had to go through the Senate review and confirmation for the Chemical Safety Board. And I asked how they knew about me, and they never replied to that from the White House. Well, long story short, I went through the whole process, 9 months to review my background, going to meetings at the White House, meeting in Congress, going through Senate hearing and all that. And I was appointed and served on the Chemical Safety Board. Never knew who gave my name. But my suspicion is because of my activities at local, state, national level with the organization, someone suggested my name as a possible candidate. Career advancement is impacted by how well you are perceived as a doer, as a maker, as someone that can have an impact, not only on your key area of responsibility, but in the organization as a whole, in your country as a whole. It helps a lot in career advancement. More importantly, the personal satisfaction. At the end of the journey, it's not that you have been this or that, or how much money you have, or how big car you have. It's the personal satisfaction for having done your civic duty and having provided public service. There's no price to that. And that's one of the things that I really hope I've done a lot more in my life, because this impact on other people's life in countries and communities is extremely important. So it's a continuous improvement. You know, you take that decision of moving forward and helping your countries. There's a number of ways to do that, as you know. And I'm gonna just go through a list here. Through national, international HSE professional societies and associations and groups. There are too many to mention. All of them are great. All of them provide opportunities for individuals to be a contributor, a mentor, hold an office, be a leader, but be involved in achieving the goals and the targets of the organization. There's a lot, many governmental advisory committees at local, state, and national levels in the fields of health, in the field of transportation, in the field of emergency planning and response, and I will talk to that in a separate line. But in so many groups that are in the need of help, of people that have the knowledge and the skills that can guide and provide some of the basic things that we have learned throughout our career to improve the governmental efforts in preventing injuries and illness and accidents. Through national and international standard development institute or committees. There's committees like the ISO, like in the US ANSI, and so many across the world that develop standard consensus, non-governmental standards that help employers or anyone that wants to address a particular risk, how to prevent it, how to manage it, and how to make it better work. Through colleges and universities, most colleges and universities that have HSE programs or health and safety or in environmental programs have advisory committees. And if they don't have one, we can help them create one to bring practical applications. What is it that the field needs today? Sometimes, unfortunately, programs are created, copy and paste and using others, but there's an opportunity to bring local input to these programs to say, hey, our employers, or our community are looking for HSE individuals with this type of knowledge. Here's where we need to develop them, these candidates, how to understand, how to gather, how to treat information, and how to be better at developing in the future. So there's a lot of opportunity on advisory committees. In the business world, chambers of commerce and other professional associations, you know, or in cities and state, people that are there organized for business purposes, sometimes they don't realize how bad it is, how big their losses are due to damage and harm to people and financial losses due to accidents. And there's an opportunity for us to intervene and help them, not only understanding, but treating those conditions that are impact their success and their employee success, and therefore their community and nation success. And other professional organizations that concentrate on different things, but perhaps there's an HSE component that's being overlooked, that we can help them with our area of expertise in visualizing those opportunities, more importantly, addressing them. Industry and trade organizations of all types. And I've had this experience, and that's why I'm listing them here, because I've been blessed with the opportunity to be involved in all of this, one way or other, in different capacity. But industries of all types are in need, and some of them have HSE type of emphasis, but not with the talent, not with the passion, not with the knowledge that traditional HSE professionals with this type of background can bring to them. Lastly, but not least, the HSE Foundation supporting professional development, like we have here today, the J&A Bharat HSE Foundation and the J&A Global HSE Foundation. There's a world of opportunity to participate in this type of organizations, not only with financial support, which is always appreciated, but also with our passion, with our time, with our effort in achieving the goals. So lastly, we talk about natural disasters and a lot of need for in the area of civil defense and emergency response organizations, local emergency planning communities, fire departments, you name it, you know, Red Cross type of organization that where we can have a big impact in making them a lot better. But you have to volunteer. You have to raise hand. Sometimes you're lucky enough to get a call, like I have done. I have received invitations from people like my dear friends, G2 and Ashok, which are not shy themselves of volunteering, but also of calling people, others to volunteer. And you have to do that to sometimes to get involved. And so you have to take the action. This is a graph here of an example of just, there's so many hundreds of them. I'm just gonna mention a few very purpose-driven and committed HSE leaders across the world that have made an impact on so many organizations and so many people's lives. First two, G2 and Ashok, I cannot add more to what was already said. These are wonderful individuals, outstanding HSE professionals for the employees, and have an impact for the countries and globally with their activities and their input. Cassie Seabrook, you know, most of you know her. Kathy was past president of HSSE, very active in the global arena of sustainability and occupational health and safety management system. Kathy is a very well-known person in those areas that have impacted organizations and countries. Tom Sesich, also past president of ASSP and the BCSP. Tom, an educator, industrial engineer, but has applied a lot of time in making the business of safety known across the world and helping developing other people with expanding his knowledge to others. In the bottom left, a dear friend, Fernando Veralcaza, who's from Ecuador. Fernando is a petroleum engineer by training, but he got into the world of safety to mine safety. And ASSP member, and he was instrumental in creating the ASSP section in Ecuador that, you know, have had a lot of ups and downs. But important thing about Fernando is that Fernando became the president of the Society of Petroleum Engineers from Ecuador, and from there he was appointed by the government, president of Ecuador, as the vice minister of mines of Ecuador. And in that capacity, he was very instrumental in modernizing mine safety in Ecuador, creating committees, bringing best knowledge from all over the world in a very short period of time, regulation, guidance. He did a fantastic job in few months with his input and his background in safety and health. Next one, Malcolm Staves. Malcolm is the Global VP of L'Oreal in the Greater Paris, France area. Outstanding individual leader in development in others. He was in the advisory board as a vice chairman of the Center for Safety and Health Sustainability. And Marco is a writer, speaker, a guy that multiplies. He's so busy at work that he has plenty of time impacting others across the globe. Same as the next one, third from left on the bottom, Nathan Winter, who's a past president of INSPO in Australia, from Australia, and was part of the Australian Institute of Health and Safety, professional, advanced professional who has used all his skill sets in advancing the education, the formation of HSSE profession. And finally, in the bottom right there, Louise Hosking, who is the past president of IOSH, current past president of IOSH, and very active in England, the UK overall, and globally through IOSH. In advancing, she has been spent many, many years on different positions on IOSH, advancing health and safety. Again, this is just a group of people. They're very busy, very successful in their business, but still have plenty of time and passion to help their profession, their community, their countries, their fellow citizens. Well, with that, I finished my talk, and now I'm open to have a two-way discussion and answer any question you might have. Thank you. Gracias for your time. Sure.
Thank you, Rixio. Before question answer session, I would like to welcome Mr. Jitu for his remarks. Mr. Jitu.
Rixio, what can I say? This goes beyond even expectation, as always. What you said, what you presented was a grand presentation. And above all, you did an honor to us inaugurating the J&A Global HSE Foundation today, even though it was already established, but we were waiting till our websites are ready. So you not only launched the foundation, but also open the doors for the website for people to come and visit what we are trying to achieve through everybody's help, which at the end of your presentation, you highlighted very rightly that it's a voluntary thing, it's a charitable thing, and it is something to enhance our profession. Two things very impressive to me. The story you shared, which is Jim Crane's story, as well as your own story, which reminds me of the statement I repeatedly share to my students, fellow seniors, and others, that the passion to help others. I say the same thing by stating nothing goes unnoticed if you do something good, and that good with good intent, and that also for others and selflessly. And that is what happened to both Jim Crane and you receiving the call from White House and your magnificent accomplishments that we all are so proud of. So thank you for sharing tremendous knowledge and your experience. With that, I would like to make a one sentence appeal that ladies and gentlemen on the call, yesterday, November 29, was the Giving Tuesday. And on this day, people globally give whatever they can, whether it's financially, like Rixio you just mentioned, or knowledge-wise or otherwise. Make a tax-deductible donation. Your gift today can make a big difference for the deserving young HSE students. If anyone wishing to pledge any scholarship or sponsorship support to the foundation, please indicate or insert your name, email, and phone number in the chat box, or you could also announce it at a later time during socialization time. But to start with, I would like to mention and take the opportunity first by sharing that Mr. Chotu Patel, who is my senior member, fellow member in Arizona, from Gilbert, Arizona, who is the retired Ford Motors R&D manager, donated upfront when we were in the planning stage, $1,111. That helped us to pay 501c3 setup, IRS fees, as well as Arizona Corporation Commission fees, and to purchase the Zoom through which we are now communicating. Number two, my own daughter, Neelam Patel, who by qualification is epidemiologist, and she is currently a project development manager for Maricopa County Community Colleges, and her husband, who is a urologist, Dr. Biren Patel, both pledged early this morning. I received a call that they extend their apology for not able to join us, but $1,000 each as governing body members as their contribution to the support of the foundation mission. So with that, Ashokji, I would like to give this back to you for question answer session.
Thank you, Jit Saab. And of course, we are going to have a question answer session. But before that, I would like to welcome our strong supporter of our foundations. When we launched our Bharat Foundation on March 25th, Dr. Mini was there, and she has been supporting through her emails, through her communications. And today also she is available here. I would like to request Dr. Mini Pandit to share some of the inspirational remarks from Dr. Mini Pandit. She's one of the outstanding, medical professional. Dr. Mini, please.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we can hear you, ma'am. Yeah.
Great. Congratulations for the launch of the Global HSE Foundation, which was really what I had envisioned from the outset, because in a globalized economy, it is essential to expand efforts for a safer and healthier planet. So I will remain supportive and continue to give my unsolicited advice to you always. And
thank you, ma'am. Yes.
And I would like, for instance, after watching Mr. Medina, I got an idea that perhaps Global HSE can be a bridge between industry and insurance agencies to influence safe behavior in the workplace. Anyhow, thank you all and wish you all the best.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your continuous support. We truly appreciate your participation today and appreciate your continued support. Thank you. So with that, we would like to continue with our question answer session. To do the question answer session, we have with us Mr. Ram Prasad. He's our chair for the partnership and synergy development. He always looks for the collaboration. Just now, Dr. Mini said that you can be the bridge, and we have the bridge chair, chair for that bridge already, madam. So Mr. Ram Prasad ji, please go ahead. You're on the mute.
We typically greet everyone as Namaste. We do not know the time zones that people are in. Therefore, Namaste.
Namaste is good.
Having said that, Mr. Medina, it was an outstanding presentation that you gave. Down to earth. For non-experts like me, I was able to comprehend the whole thing. Before I do have a couple of questions, but before that, I would like to invite the participants to pose any questions. If they have any questions, please ask, Rao.
Yeah, you go ahead with your questions. Yes, I think there are, yeah. Okay. Please go ahead, RPG. Yeah.
Mr. Medina, I have written down a couple of questions. One, you have mentioned about the percentage of accidents in Asia, China and India especially, at roughly about 14%, if my memory serves me right. And Europe at 12%. Could you tell us a rough ballpark figure on the number of percentage of accidents in the USA?
Well,
Yes.
go ahead, Ashok.
Yeah, I mean, actually, I think there was a disconnection in the network, probably. Did you hear the question, Rixio?
Yeah, he wanted to know the number of people injured in the US.
Correct, yes, yeah.
Yeah.
As a percentage.
Well, don't have, this is published data by ILO, and unfortunately they don't have it like that, but I can tell you accidents in the US, occupational accidents are tracked by the Occupational Health and Safety Administration, OSHA. So, it has been improving year after year. The fatalities are in the order of, in the 4,000, goes from 33,700 to 4,500. That's the range in the last 5 to 10 years. Now, those are the reported. We know that there's underreporting even in the US. Those numbers are reported by responsible employers and other means of reporting. But I cannot bet that those are accurate. Those are the ones that people are obligated by law to report.
Fair enough. I have a second question. I believe you would have had a brief flash of my profile and my background. So it's a very down-to-earth question, but as HSE professionals, I believe you would have to address this. Are enterprises carrying out the laid down procedures on HSE requirements just as a compliance, or is it anything real about it? My experience in India is that they do a lot of it just with the compliance and not with any real intent. Your global view on that, Mr. Medina?
Well, the fact that the international level organization just recently, I think was, if I'm not mistaken, this year alone, after so many years of their existence, have declared health and safety as a basic human right, tells me that we are way, way, way behind the ball. Other things like meaningful job, a well-compensated job, those statements were done years ago. So what I'm saying is that most of the information that's gathered by governments, by states, by organizations are reactive, behind the fact, not proactive. In other words, they might come by a combination of complaints, actual accidents, a portion of them, or whatever. And although there's been a lot of advancement in the business community on being more responsible, social responsible, and corporate responsible, in not only preventing, but taking care of accidents and preventing their reoccurrence, I have to say that a lot of the interventions are related to complaints and to workers or union organizations or labor organizations bringing the issue to the table. Not to say that there's a lot of responsible employers, a lot of responsible organizations, but there's still room for improvement. Because unfortunately, a lot of people still think that, well, it's a privilege to have a job. Don't complain. Do your job, don't complain. So when people bring an issue, a risk, or something that's not right in the workplace that can expose them or others, sometimes they're labeled troublemakers, of complainers.
Troublemakers.
Yeah, not a good worker because you're complaining. And instead of taking the positive position of this is an opportunity to improve, if the desired state is that every employee will freely bring forward any condition that may be potentially harmful, so it's addressed, preferably giving them the opportunity to resolve it themselves if they can, if they have the tool. That would be the desired environment. When we take this input as a good information to act and not as a complaint.
Thank you. Dr. Mini Pandit mentioned about the bridge between HSE and the insurance. As Ashokji said, I belong to the insurance industry background. As a risk manager and insurance broker, we will take that for some other day. We have a question from Dr. Mini Pandit. Is there a system in place to objectively study the effect of HSE efforts, short-term and long-term in India or elsewhere?
Well, that's been a subject of many discussions. and I've heard, well, professional organizations, well, let me take a step back. In the US, for example, OSHA says, hey, when we started in 1972, when the OSHA Act was enacted in 1970, and then OSHA started working like in 72, 74, there was funding. And they say from 72, 74 to the year 2021, look how the number of fatalities, injuries, and illness has dropped from here to here. So they claim in the US that the Occupational Safety and Health Act, OSHA, their activities, their employer workers, the people working in HSE have reduced significantly. I've seen percentage, I can't recall the top of my mind, but big numbers, like 70% decrease over the years. And so a lot of organizations claim that. Professional organizations like HSSP, IOSH, and in Canada have numbers like that. But I've heard through the years, for the need of scientific, data-driven studies, and there being intent to fund serious research. And I think there's some right now that are in place to have a better understanding of the direct impact of the intervention, HSE intervention with the results. Some people say, well, it's just a matter of luck, or it's a matter of whatever. It's a seesaw result, up and down, up and down. And we tend to believe that we have a sustainable system, yeah, with some little hiccups, but in efforts to improve the performance. So I cannot quote one serious recognized organization or institution.
Ayesha ji, please. Yeah, please.
That can directly demonstrate that long-term sustainable improvement. I had those numbers at work. When we apply a method like behavioral, in addition to all the technical things we do in safety, HSE, but we started with behavioral safety, culture safety, and we were tracking that performance versus the actions, activities. So we were able to track that. But, and there's a lot of papers published there by different organizations on short term, but I cannot quote you one. I can say this is one that is a serious document that you should review it and consider as a proof of the sustainable results of the interventions.
Thank you. One last question. Whilst my observation would be that there's a lot of fudging, under-reporting of the accidents that happen, given the time of the day. One last question to you, Mr. Medina. How many such accidents? We have a lot of systems and procedures in place, but how many such accidents globally could be attributed to human negligence and human errors? You have the best of systems in place.
Well, when I was trained, I graduated from college in 1977. And when I was trained, I used some of the textbooks here in the back. I still have them, the old ones. And most of those, unfortunately, at that time, we were branded in our mind that more than 80% of the accidents were caused by human error. And it's in a smaller number by unsafe conditions. I mean, the great majority were human, unsafe acts or people. A smaller number in the 12% unsafe condition, and then 1% act of God. In other words, the whole thing was blaming the employee. So the game was blame the employee. And through the years, I have learned with age and experience that even those accidents that we tend to blame the employee are caused by systemic issues, problems, conditions in the organization that support perhaps that unsafe behavior, that unsafe act. Allowing people to do work outside the prescribed procedure, which happens in many organizations. They have the written procedures, they train people in the procedure, they give the procedure to everybody, but they allow people to deviate from it. And so that's a reinforcement of a act that in the past we were very fast to blame the employee. No, it's an employee problem. Sometimes it's a systemic or managerial system that allows that to happen. So, I have been convinced through my life that you can always find a opportunity in the system, even when the employees are not following the procedures. Why they're not following it if they're being trained? Are we sure that this is the right procedure? Or are we putting too much faith in the procedure? Shouldn't we be working on the hardware to eliminate the hardware problem? That's the number one thing. Eliminate the hazard. You cannot control effectively the hazard with administrative controls. No, we are human beings. We eventually, something's going to happen that we're going to deviate for whatever condition. The number one effort should be eliminate the hazard, eliminate the physical condition at work that can cause the harm.
Thank you. That was a fantastic response. Thank you so much. We will bring this Q&A to a session, and we will probably have another session, Jeetu Saab and Ashok Ji, because it's a very interesting talk with Mr. Medina. And closing, Dr. Mini Pandit has made a very relevant comment that she is a conservative but believes in social responsibility of multinational corporations. Completely agree, madam. It is not just MNCs, even our own homegrown companies need to have a lot of self-responsibility is what I would term it, and added with the social responsibility. With that, I hand it over to Ashok Ji.
Thank you, Mr. Ram Prasad and Mr. Rixio Medina for elaborating on the clarifications of the participants. And of course, we are exceeding our time limit, but kindly excuse us for the few more minutes. And on behalf of our founding trustees of J&A Bharat as well as J&A HSE Foundation, Mr. Jeetu Saab already briefly talked about the Giving Tuesday, which went yesterday itself. But let's give back to create a safer tomorrow. Your support to our both foundations helps in fulfilling its objectives of helping HSE fraternity and beyond. In fact, we had so many programs in place to support the HSE fraternity, and people are coming forward. Mr. Rixio clearly mentioned that there are so many foundations which are established over the years and took many years to establish. And we are making a baby steps. As you see on the screen, there are so many people who have come forward as well as, supported, and many people are in the pipeline. We'd like to thank them as well as current and future donors. Everything is accounted as part of the income tax rules as well as the 501c rules. We would like to request you to give back basically to our foundations to support the HSE fraternity. So as Mr. Jeetu Saab said that please leave your name, email, or in the chat box. You can always reach out through our website as well. So with that, I would like to conclude with Mr. Jitu Saab's remarks. Mr. Jitu Patel, please go ahead. You're on the
Well,
mute, maybe.
I think basically to conclude, we have put the infrastructure to create the next era of world-class health and safety leaders. The industrial fire and explosions, motor vehicle tragedies, illnesses due to poor health and hygiene that have taken lives of countless fellow beings will continue to occur. If we do not urgently equip generations to come up the tools and education needed to implement the world's best safety practices on a global scale. Our foundation has the sole mission of creating a safe and efficient nation and advances the global field of occupational safety and health profession. As the technological revolution continues to advance the methods of production and operation in both industry and daily life, a new era of HSE professionals is pivotal to ensure that the nation is well equipped to handle the health and safety challenges those innovative technologies may pose. We must extend our humanity to fund the furthering of this field so that the next generation can extend humanity on protecting the people of the respective nation and globally. Our foundation plans to recognize individuals, organizations, corporations, and academic institutions that have made significant contributions in making a difference in advancing the field of HSE. Your monetary contribution is a very true inspiration in preparing the next generation to effectively combat the problems that our tumultuous future holds. Donors will have the liberty to choose the name of the scholarship that their money is going towards. We greatly appreciate your time and commitment to creating the future of health, safety, environment globally. Lastly, I would like to take this opportunity to present a short vote of thanks. We are extremely grateful to two philanthropists who wanted to support the mission of our Indian Health, Safety, Environment Foundation with generosity. However, due to remittance restrictions of foreign funds, they were not successful, but their experiences inspired us to extend the concept and the scope globally, which is really right now being witnessed by all on this webinar, and hence the formation of Global Foundation. Mr. Rixio, we cannot thank you enough for your ongoing friendship with Ashok and me, and accepting our invitation with an honor of officially launching the Global Foundation and its website. And above all, delivering such an outstanding presentation emphasizing the need of the hour for saving millions of lives and protecting billions of dollars worth assets and environment. You have shown the path to our young professionals to advance and excel. Thank you. Sincerest appreciation to our honored guest, Dr. Meenakshi Pandit, Mark Gursha. Thank you, Mark, for sharing the link, offering to share the link for body of knowledge. Our very dear friend, Carl Heinlein, Dr. Oj, the president of Nigeria chapter, and many more. I can not name them all, but with your presence and esteemed support to J&A, both Bharat as well as Global Foundations. The ongoing support of the governing body of the mission of the J&A HSE Foundation is of immense value to this charitable organization. We thank them all. We are indebted to all the delegates who are present and many more who actually have shown eagerness to listen to Mr. Rixio Medina, and we promise them that we will share the recorded version of it. And we thank you all for attending this outreach knowledge transfer session, which is the number 8, and it will be ongoing every month. You made the event a grand success. Your active support is extremely important. Friends, we invite you all to take time to visit the foundation's website and complete the forms, as Mr. Ashok mentioned earlier, showing your willing interest to support the foundation for this noble cause mission towards safer workplace and the community. No contributions are ever so small. Once again, we thank you for sparing your valuable time for making the event a grand success. Together, we would prevail and make a difference in our beautiful nation and global planet, the right word used by Dr. Pandit. Ashok ji, if you have anything to add, please do so.
Thank you, Dr. Pandit and Dr. Biren and Madam Neelam Patel for their support, continued support. With that, as informed, let's have some sort of a gallery. Kindly open your cameras. Yes, kindly open your cameras as we can have the gallery picture. Yeah.
I go do now. I saw it be. No, I'm in a meeting, so
I would like to stop the recording so that we can have the gallery picture. Kindly open your stop sharing.
I don't tire for this tonight because they will soon call me now. Okay. How they walk? I go Abuja. I go Abuja. From Abuja to Uyo to go and deliver paper at University of Uyo.
Looks like everybody is talking. Let me mute everybody.
Yeah.
I get busy. No, this one.